Okay, this is the Unit 3 study guide, 23-24 year. We're going to start with notes. So I'll give you a better note sheet. They are on the back of this, but I'll give you like a separate note sheet. So you can bring this to the test. Remember, like one sheet of notes for the test, and this is kind of like to help you get going. Bare minimum, bring this, okay, front and back. So population this is like every thing or everyone you get in here a little bit. Everything or everyone you want to know about. So this means that like this could be like Summit seniors would be like that's everyone you want to know about. That would be Summit seniors. Sample is a subgroup of population. You gather data about. So example, like, so population would be Summit seniors, could be the population, and so like 30 seniors would be the sample. Okay. Observational, key here, observational, observe. Observe means watch, right? I'm gonna try to make really good handwriting for this. This is my best effort for handwriting. Okay, observe equals watch, right? So there's like no assigned treatments. That's like key to observational. Experiment, this is the opposite. This is assigning treatments. Assigning treatments. Okay. Let me like bring this forward a bit. I think this is gonna help a lot. There we go. That's a lot better. So, population, everyone you want to know about, sample subgroup that you take data from. Observational studies like watching, no assigned treatments, and experiments assigned treatments. That's a lot better, right? Okay, there we go. Simple random sample. This means that everyone has an equal chance of being selected. Okay. Usually this looks like label, randomize, and then select. That would be like the order. It's like 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Move up to voluntary response. It means you choose to participate. That's all it means. Participate. That's all it means. You choose to participate. Stratified means to separate that's population, into groups, and then use simple random sample each one. Okay. Cluster sample means separate pop into groups, and you sample everyone in some of them, in a few groups. Okay. Systematic is like where it's like every nth person. 5th or every 6th, whatever, you know. Convenience, like convenience store, it's like easy, right? Easy. Easy sample. Response bias means like affecting answers because of who, what, how questions are asked, right? Who's asking the question, how they're being asked, what they're asking, those are all response biases, okay? Under coverage bias means that sample does not reflect population, really simply, okay? Non-response bias means like people are not responding, and that has impact. We are not considering their responses. Okay. Explanatory. This is review, right? This is like, let me adjust this in a second. That's much better. Here we go. So the explanatory is the variable, like the explaining variable. I'm gonna keep it really like what's doing the explaining, right? The response variable is what's doing the responding, right? Confounding means it's like another variable, that impacts response and explanatory. Okay, experimental units are like your subjects, what or who is being treated. Treatment is the intervention you're doing, the tests, the intervention. Right. Backside, placebo. Placebo is like a fake treatment. Single blind means subjects don't know treatment. Double blind means subjects and experimenters don't know. Both don't know. That's double. Double two, right? Both. It's one, that's two, right? Control, this is no treatment group for comparison, right? All right, this experiment types. This is straight for your toolkit. Like I'll do it quickly here. So completely randomized is you got like 100 seniors, whatever, and you randomize them, and you separate them into groups, so like 50 here and 50 here, and then you do like some treatment called like treatment A, and then treatment B, and then you compare. That's completely randomized. For randomized block design, it's similar. The difference is you're going to split them into subgroups before you do this part. you're going to do this, but you got to split them into subgroups first. So let's say you had 100 seniors and you split them into, let's do like, instead of this, sorry, 100 students, and you split them into like 50 seniors and 50 juniors, right? And then it's basically you copy this exact same process. It goes, I'm just gonna say randomize R, and you would split them into 25 and 25, and then like treatment A, treatment B, call it TB, and then you would compare. And 50 juniors, same thing, randomize 25, 25, TA, TB, compare, and then compare everything at the end. Matched pair is like you match subjects in a pair with similar trait, then split. So example, like same height. Okay. All right, that's the notes. All right, a government's health department is setting up an experiment to figure out whether a new COVID vaccine is effective in reducing the percentage of people who test positive. They make sure that how can they make sure they're following the 4 principles of experimental design? So comparison just means like they need multiple groups. So that means they want to have, a little closer. They're going to have like a like vaccine versus no vaccine, right? Vaccine versus no vaccine. You need to have both, right? To have comparison, you need to compare 2 things. Random assignment is just what it means. So it's just like treatment randomly assigned. Control of other variables, things like obviously like same dose is really important. Environment is the same, like no other medication, right? You wouldn't want other medication would like influence anything. And then replication, like a lot of subjects, a lot of people that you're doing it. Okay. All right. So next, for each description tell whether it's an observational study or experiment. Researchers use a random number generator to assign people to 2 groups. One takes pill, one takes a placebo. It'll be clear they measure. Okay, so this is obviously an experiment because they're doing the treatment. I'm gonna call it E, experiment. B, research count the number of birds in the air at different times of the year. That's observational because they are just watching. They're not testing anything. They're not intervening, right? Researchers ask people how many books they've read and how much money they make, trying to see if there's a link between. Again, it's observational. They're not assigning anything. They're just asking questions. They're just looking at data. Researchers analyze data from U.S. Census. Same thing. This is observational because they're not intervening. Researchers flip a coin to determine whether plants will be placed in sunlight or darkness, then compare their growth. That's experiment because they are they're deciding, they're intervening whether or not they're placed in sunlight or darkness. Okay. 3A, explain why we use placebos in experiments. So we use placebos because we need to make sure effects are genuine and not psychological. And what that means is like, if I give you if I compare, the placebo effect is like, if I give you a pill, even if the pill isn't real, but I tell you it's going to heal you or you'll feel better, you may feel better just because you believe it. So I need to compare the drug against the placebo so that I see to make sure it's not just in your head. That's why. Why do we want researchers to be blinded? We want to avoid any bias. So if they're blinded, they don't know which one had the treatment, which one didn't, or data manipulation. Okay. We got simple, which is similar to the last one: simple, random, stratified, cluster, systematic, convenience, or voluntary. The school asks students to fill out an optional survey. So okay, that's a keyword here, optional. This is clearly voluntary. Voluntary. In a study on eye disease, people are separated by eye color. 10 people from each color are selected. This is going to be stratified because we're separating them into groups, and then we are sampling from them. Airline selects 5, it's 50, and surveys everyone. That's cluster, because it's separated into groups, but it's the all of the passengers. So that's a keyword here, all the passengers. This one is separated, but it's 10 people from each. So that's the difference. Cluster will be everyone and a few, but stratified is random from a few. A person asks every third shopper in the fruit section of the grocery store whether they don't paper. This is going to be systematic. Systematic, because it's every third. That's the keyword there. You want to find out how many people get lunch at the cafeteria. You number everyone in the school. You randomly generate 10 numbers. And you interview 10 students. That's simple random sample, SRS, because you've got that numbering and it's totally random. That's simple random sample. On a walk, Mr. Kelly asked 7 people he passed in the street whether they like Rihanna. That's convenience, right? That's just what's easy. Okay, convenience. Okay, label the types of bias based on the situation. You've got non-response, volunteer, under coverage. A politician chooses a random sample of the phone numbers in his local area code. About 20% of the phone numbers pick up. This is gonna be non-response. Right, people are not picking up. 20% pick up. Activists ask, don't you think it's time to start get tougher on corporations that steal our money? This is just gonna be general response bias. Because it's the way that it's worded. It's it's a loaded question, it's a leading question. It's already telling you what the answer is, right? Mr. Honing asked students if they ever cheated an AP Gov content assessment. This is also response bias. Because it's who's asking it, right? He's asking it. It's gonna be hard to see. People might lie, basically. Only polling data from north side have been collected, east side was left out. This is under coverage, right? We're not covering everywhere. And lastly, a newspaper asks people to write in and share their thoughts on new law. That's gonna be voluntary response bias. Okay, because people are choosing to do that. Pfizer wants to measure the effectiveness of its vaccine. Half participants will be randomly assigned. Other half will get placebo. They want to see if the COVID rate is lower with the vaccine. Identify the variables in groups. So explanatory variable will be vaccine or no vaccine. Response will be COVID rate. Confounding variables. So these are things that could affect whether or not they get COVID. So confounding variables could be like age, pre-existing conditions, or like health, think about that. So what I'm talking, the reason that these work, right? Older people probably more susceptible to get COVID. Pre-existing conditions, right? Your health, like you're probably more susceptible to get COVID. And you might say like exposure, like how much you're going outside. If you're like, obviously if you're like a teacher, you're around a lot of kids. So these are possible options. Other ones are available. I think as long as you're justifying the why, that's all that matters, right? Treatment group. Well, the treatment group is like getting the vaccine, and then the control group would be the placebo in this case. Why might Pfizer want to use randomized block design where they first split up participants into two age groups, 60 plus, under 60 plus, and randomly assign? So this would let them compare effectiveness on old versus young. So that's helpful because then they could see, oh, okay, Miss EO wants to test whether students do get a higher score on time right if they eat a healthy breakfast. She tells one group to eat fresh fruit, veg, to eat McDonald's. Okay. Show in the diagram how Miss EO can use a completely randomized design to test this. Sure. All right, she has 108. So this would be 108 students. This would be randomization. Then you'd have, we're going to divide that by 2. So we're going to have 54 up here, 54 up here, down here. Then we're going to have one treatment is going to be like healthy, Breck, and then Mackie D's, McDonald's, and then the measurement we just compare at the end. Compare performance, right, on time right. Can the students be blinded? I mean, no, right? Because they will know what they're eating. Like you can't hide that from the kids, right? And then, will Miss EO can Miss EO be blinded? Yeah, she could. Like someone else would have to like organize, like, you know, there would have to be a system in place, but she can absolutely do this without knowing who's doing what. And this is a good idea. Because it will prevent bias in Miss EO's analysis. That's it.